Speedrunners such as Karim use this technique to speedrun lily leapers. The technique is called dive canceling. When you bounce on the lily pad, it propels you into the air and you have an animation associated with that. What dive canceling does is that it cancels that animation of you floating in midair and starts the dive animation, which cuts your airtime by a small amount. Any microseconds cut in a run is the difference between getting a new record or not. To dive cancel, jump, and while in midair, immediately press your dive button to go into your diving animation. The best place to spawn is the very left side, and is the direction most favorable for getting an optimal run, since that's where the lily pad on the 4th floor will be if you do everything correctly. If you don't spawn to the left side, however, take the very right side instead. Those sides are basically where you want to be. From spawn, you jump onto the first pad and then immediately dive, and while in midair, dive onto the second pad, and once again, while in midair, dive immediately onto the third pad. If however the timing is a little tricky for you, there is another way to go about this. You jump dive onto the first pad and skip the second pad and go straight onto the third one. This one is a bit easier to pull off, but not as fast as diving on all the pads. Going to the platforms on the extreme sides is the fastest way of traversing the section, no matter what side you choose to take. Once you're about to approach the 3 small pads, dive onto the middle of the 3 and then jump onto the platform. Do be careful if someone is close to you, they can't bump into you and make you fall into the water. Once I learned this trick, I started winning Lily Leaper finales more often. Once you're on the platform, dive cancel away to this big pad right here, and once you hit the pad, dive. And if you did it correctly, you should dive into the oncoming pad and skip the middle set of pads and go onto the last row. You can overshoot your mark and dive too early, so practice this skip in particular. The third layer is something that can make or break a run. If you did all the other dive cancels successfully, then you should go to the left side, because by the time you'll reach the 4th layer, the hovering pad should reach to the left side and you can take it without any issues. There is a skip you can perform, and it requires you to hit the front left side of this pad, float until you're about to touch the rim of the middle pad, and then dive. If you did it correctly, you can effectively skip the middle pad and get on the last set of pads. This skip is incredibly difficult to pull off, so practice this as often as you can. If you did everything correctly, you shouldn't need to worry about this layer. Just dive onto the incoming hovering pad and make your way to the last layer. Here's how you can do the final section with ease. Jump dive onto the floor pad and aim for this lily pad right here. And once you hit it, aim your character towards the left lily pad and dive right when you're about to hit it. Then dive onto the oncoming floor pad and go for the hovering pad above. And if you time it correctly, you can hit the angle pads that are right next to the finish line. Here's a faster method, which I haven't been able to do myself, but it's great to know. Right when you're about to hit this pad right here, if you time it correctly, you won't need to hit the floating pad and you can directly go to the last set of pads. Let's try to get to 700 subscribers.